Let me stretch out my voice for an awkward introduction. Every review. Let's get this over with. Raw, or keep it short, Retribution was a straight mistake, just like my birth. But other than that mistake, let's just go into the review. The show was bad in the essence of moving to the semblance of nowhere over like the most upside I had that would be bona fide, a bit redeemable, going into the Randy Orton promo, insulating the hype of his punt kick. And I understand trying to make sure Randy Orton is brought up to the hype of he McIntyre no sell your shit that he came back the next week on Raw to stop you in your match against Keith Lee. And then we had freaking you hit him with a steel chair, then damage him in the jaw. Span of 3 weeks. And I get the promo was literally the best Orton can do. I just have no essence of caring in this match. Like I care about Fadakata, I don't know, Tyler Rex XL against Braun Strowman on on Monday on Raw Underground, and it ended in like a few minutes, and he got tossed out, I think knocked out, and got stuck in a chokehold. So we even had the members. That was Dio Madden, Shane Thorne, Dominic Dijakovic, Mia Yim. That was obvious because of the blue hair. She didn't even think of dyeing it for a different faction. And Martinez. I think Mercedes Martinez from NXT. And their reasoning for coming on Raw is to change the system and the greed and the oh my god. How disinteresting is this? How much of a generic, overzealous, overcryptic, bullshit, dumb jobber faction this is? Ring of Honor could pull a better invading faction storyline than WWE. Impact had done better invading storylines over a nearly 2 year span from the WWE, and is not that well received the Aces and Eights storyline was, and didn't have the best ending on the semblance of it. At least it had great promise. The build was okay. They were doing unorthodox stuff that we haven't seen on Impact. It was it was actually like endorsed from an actual show and had a realistic theme. And it was with guys that you expect that at least some of them look like bikers. And we actually had a captivating, well promoted, great great move over to the main event over Bully Ray. So at least we made a star out of this. And he was an established tag team wrestler before he came up to the main event, going in for world title matches after his heel turn back at Lockdown. It this been it's I think this been since July or late June. They were trying to push the notion of Retribution being a major faction. They've been destroying private property from a training facility. Mm. They haven't even thought of attacking like employees until like later, I think later in August of this year on SmackDown when they attacked like a few referees, sort of like the guy in the bathroom. It's just corny, and I'd rather see Ezekiel Jackson make his own. I'd rather see Titus O'Neil make his own faction called the Flop Troop than whatever Retribution have with Dominic Dijakovic looking like somebody from the Mad Max films got sexually assaulted while wearing the mask. Mia Yim just looking like some terrible side character from Cyberpunk. Shane Thorne looking like a retard. Mercedes Martinez looking like she doesn't even belong there. And Dio Madden. I am so sorry you couldn't be on commentary anymore. That's about it. They had the worst promo going over the horse and all the. It's the dumbest thing. It ended up with her business coming in, going into a fight, the numbers game coming into play, and then everybody started like nearly cleaning house because of the Retribution's number gain. And then we faded to black as soon as we went over to commercial, like, and then they issued later on the show. They didn't dish it out before they even went into the ring. It was just a straight brawl. So it wasn't like we got a 6-man tag against you guys. They just orchestrated that this invading faction that's obviously has a vendetta against the WWE just thinks smartfully, hey, why the hell do they have contracts? Wouldn't be the thing for retribution is to boycott, like, be anti WWE, do stuff illegally until stuff gets. And I don't even know why Adam Pearce is like still authoritarian in matter. I thought he was gonna be automatically fired. Thanks, literally. Like I'm gonna keep repeating this because logic's supposed to make sense, especially in a weekly programming that has no off season or no breaks. Yet they still say season premiere. Uh, oh god, well, he was supposed to have his job on the line if Roman Reigns didn't sign the contract before Battleground. It was Battleground. Roman Reigns signed on the bottom line before he even like literally near the ring stage. Adam Pearce should have been fired, and yet he's on Raw doing more stuff. I don't know how that works. I don't know how Vince's mind works. If you have one guy literally going to the net, why didn't you have an authority figure on SmackDown then, or in a figure or authority figure on Raw? Oh, well, that was the show. Well, that was the hype going into the show. We had Retribution in a 6-man tag for the main event, and we had Braun Strowman against this Dobakata jobber. That's just Tyler Rex on testosterone, more testosterone, in a triple threat tag team title a tag match to see who will face off against the Street Profits for the Raw tag team titles, and to prolify any logic in the semblance of why I should care about Andrade and Garza still being an established tag after the manager literally forcing them to even still coexist, immediately just gives up on them and then becomes a number one contender for the Raw Women's Championship on the dot all because she called her out makes zero sense. And isn't it like Andrade like a former US champion? Like the reasoning why he even associates it with a guy that literally gets distracted off one single attractive woman should obviously be the sign of, hey, maybe I should probably let this guy know that, I'm not letting distractions hold me back. Well, we had a crappy introduction promo, and then we had a triple threat tag with Humberto Carrillo back. We had like 4 generic Hispanic dudes in one match. I'm this it's apropos or freaking Cody's freaking vocab word when he doesn't even know any other letters that are beyond 7 letters. So we had Dominic and Humberto Carrillo, Rollins and Murphy after Murphy literally got his face smashed by Rollins because of an accident with the steel cage door in their cage match. That Rollins won and Garza and Andrade. None of these guys have official tag team names or been that established, except Rollins and Murphy have won the tag team belts earlier in the year. Well, we had some counters, a Hurricane Rana, like sloppy transitions into a reversal from Dominic to go for a 619, but that was botched immediately. A reverse Frankensteiner. Then Rollins leaving out his disciple. for some apparent reason. It ended up with Garza on Andrade taking advantage with the elbow and then the wing clipper. That's the finish. Garza and Andrade get their second chance since Clash of Champions. Since SummerSlam, I think, to face off against the Street Profits for the tag team belts. Do I care? No. Do I feel like they should split up? No. Yes. Do I think that the belt should be unified already? Because I hate the Street Profits and I hate Cesaro and Nakamura. Yes, I don't care who wins the belts. They're still gonna be irrelevant. They've been irrelevant since making those straps red back in 2016. It it's just been boring filler matches with some decent hot tags, and the only highlight of nearly any of Montez Ford's move is when he botched a tope because he went so damn high over miscommunication off Rollins, and Austin Theory thought of, oh, look, a flying black guy. I'm not going to take my arms out. It immediately went flat back on the metal ramp. Generic finish. We had the KO show with Kevin Owens with Shane McMahon talking to his big door slave. I'm talking about this door guy over that he needs asking if he needs extra security because of course Owens and Shane has history over the past few years. And then he just fist bumped his slave and just walked off with Kata, that of course was the extra special guest, with Kevin Owens referencing uh, what happened back at Raw Underground. Sorry about the over getting into his match with Aleister Black and then freaking slapping him and choking him around. Slap to the face and then calling Braun Strowman. Shane McMahon trying to restrain two heavyweights. And over all that stuff, Aleister Black just comes out of nowhere, and over that chaos concluded with the host getting assaulted. Somehow Shane keeps two guys that are like combined 500, like near 600 pounds, somehow stay calm while literally Aleister Black is like crushing Kevin Owens' nuts somewhere. So that's the KO show. The worst guest host ever. Kevin Owens has no charisma to simplify so many talking subjects. Or at least trying to like bring over major shows. The dirt sheet is better because at least they go over major topics that happen all around the show. As unfunny as it does, at least they stay on topic. And Miz tries his best to at least bring some intrigue into the show. Like Mandy going to Raw, he goes over the main event of some semblance and his storyline that he's against somehow. So, and Kevin Owens just goes over some dumb crap that happens to Aleister Black and that he got beat up by a guy obviously bigger than him out of Raw Underground, a show that doesn't even mean anything. I don't even know why Aleister Black was still wearing that eye strap thing, even though he was literally wrestling in a match against Kevin Owens a week before without that eye patch that makes him look like Big Boss. Why was he wearing that? He looks like a Big Boss just got out of Hot Topic and just thinks, I'm gonna wear black. Just stop. We had Keith Lee versus Drew McIntyre for the one-on-one, while Randy Orton coming around in his promo the match. And then Charlie Caruso always comes, and anybody taking a breath backstage, talking about the relationship with Keith Lee, kind of broken up after their last match that ended in the DQ, and then Randy Orton ended in the DQ after just a few moves. It was coming after a close Claymore kick after some power moves were dealt with each other, a decent pounce, and they start brawling on the outside. After a Claymore kick was about to finish off the match, Randy Orton comes with a freaking steel chair. Because this is personal. This is personal. These guys have been assaulting each other all month. Kill me. Just do it, man. Just do it. I'm begging. Then Randy goes over his prolifically long drowned out promo of how devastating it is being the Legend Killer, how brutal the punt kick is, even though Keith Lee was still healthy enough to compete for the next week against the WWE Champion, after he suffered 3 of them shits and yet they sell a jaw injury. Because the semblance of McIntyre being injured, having a lot of endurance. I'm so excited. I am so excited. The promo was decent enough as it is, and it was at least captivating for me to keep listening over trying to sell off the move being that devastating and how he understands how really dangerous he really is. So I at least accept that over Randy Orton believing his own hype and at least makes how egotistical but really intimidating is. That's the most I can expect of Randy Orton to actually sell off how much of a heel he is, and I at least respect that. I can at least expect that. Still, no need to finish it off with a DQ and then you do your promo without McIntyre attacking you. He just comes off selling off his jaw, and Keith Lee doesn't even try to give you a spirit bomb after you just costed him a match, while he could have probably had a big important match with the WWE Champion. It tells you how really important this main event scene is, even though we have like 3 main eventers and Braun Strowman. And Kevin Owens, that's a former Universal Champion, just fights with anybody he has in contact with. Like the semblance of having this brand split means nothing if you don't like have anybody else, eager to face off against a WWE champion. It just sells the point that the belt is just for like whoever just doesn't like each other. Then we had a number of contenders match for Mickey James against Lena Vega, and they sell over the point of the botched finish against Asuka back last week on Raw. And it was just off the ref's fault, in my opinion. I just felt like he was brain dead the entire match. And it ended off an Asuka lock after a decent counter. She she lifts herself up to get into a pinning position. The ref thought that it was probably that she wasn't breathing or some dumb shit like that, and he called for the bell. After obviously it looks like she was going to reverse the Asuka lock for a pinfall, so she can take the victory that way. So that's not how it went down. Then Zelina Vega came declaring for a women's title match opportunity, slapping Asuka out of nowhere, and that of course how you earn a shot. So tonight it was Mickey James versus Lita Vega 1-on-1 for a shot for the women's championship at Clash of Champions. Why not just make it a triple threat match? I don't know why. Okay, the match was supposed to establish Lita Vega. I thought she did okay. She can't do work punches to save her life. An average Meteora. I like her Hurricane Uranus. That's literally the only semblance of notable arsenal I know out of Zelina Vega. That's practically it. Over like a majority of the match, it ended off a surprise. I think Lameka. I don't know what she calls it. It ends off a backstabber for the win over a close near fall off Zelina, and then it ends with her talking trash over to Asuka, and then talking trash to Mickey James after the victory. Uh, I don't mind Zelina Vega. I don't think she should be that forceful to the top because she came off jobbing onto Bianca Belair and the Riot Squad for the last several weeks, like over the middle of the summer. And then you just push her up because she got fed up with Garza and Andrade. I think like the singles push, and I thought we were just doing this to forcibly get Peyton Royce because she's been already targeted by Vince to be like the next top women's star over the absence of Becky Lynch, and she has that look. She doesn't seem like a terrible worker. She, she seems like an attractive woman, and I don't mind any Iconics promo. So I don't understand why that's beyond the case, other than Zelina Vega uh, is cool with Triple H. I don't get that. So Vega goes to Clash of Champions. I can believe the 2 weeks of build, Vega slaps Mickey and then she beats Mickey. I mean, just slaps Asuka and then beats Mickey James. And they keep establishing there's a 6-time women's champion. Loses to a woman like at least a few inches shorter than her. I love WWE. I love it. Next up, we had Apollo Crews against uh, Cedric Alexander, and they already established over the promo, talking trash to everybody. And of course, bringing up that Apollo Crews used him to get a U.S. title shot that he has not earned. And of course, going over their 6-man tag match that MVP didn't even participate in. Cedric was still in the main event after just losing to Apollo. I love WWE. The match was meh, and the selling point was there's supposed to be like more personal gripe because of course Apollo has this relationship that only lasted for like a few months. So the selling point of like 3 dudes that have no personality except they kick and flip, and the selling point of Cedric, like no aggression at all. We had Hurricane Rana, a counter into a super kick, a bicycle kick, a belly to belly suplex. Apollo came sizing it up. I think they came outside a baseball slide drop kick, then a face to face with MVP and Apollo during commercial break. It ends off I think no, it wasn't I think it was the power bomb, whatever. It ended up with some music by teasing Lashley, and then it came to a blindside of Solov Cedric. Then her business still comes up beating up the babyface team, and they're all jobbers. I don't even know why Cedric, Apollo even associate with them, other than they're not white and they kick and flip. I don't understand. And then you have the major heel faction defending the babyface, the whole locker room, and they're only doing this because Adam Pearce is possibly paying them over bribery and the only sense of defense for Raw, other than just getting the top 4 baby faces involved. I don't understand. Like, you could just ask for, I don't know, Keith Lee, Humberto, Kevin Owens, and try to get a way to negotiate with Braun Strowman. To bring some semblance of like defending Raw, like the Hurt Business can be a major part of it, but and like into the fact that they don't have to always affiliate with whatever they're doing, and you just have the Hurt Business doing this heelish shit, and yet they're defending Raw. And I understand they're doing this for selfish tendencies. It's just you can't believe me that they're beating up baby faces and blindsiding them, and then they're trying to defend Raw against like the biggest invading heel faction that WWE is doing at this current point. That I know we're going to be full of jobbers, and they're going to do a lot of makeshift DQ finishes on Raw until we get into like a pay per view that they're probably going to job out to something involving Dolph Ziggler. That's my opinion of it. If that come true, somebody owes me $1. I swear to God, somebody will owe me a freaking dollar, and I will keep it until the day I die. I will. Next up, we had Rollins over a stunning revelation, and why? It, he did the cliche, literally, of every Mysterio story involving Dominic not being the son of Rey Mysterio, then hooking it over to tease something involving Mysterio's daughter and her trying to care of Murphy because he literally took a medal to the face by Rollins and got plastered around. And then it came into Mysterio just saying that she's a 19-year-old girl. She doesn't have she doesn't know this world, and then it just went personal in the back. I'm supposed to care that they're still doing this ongoing garbage shit over the semblance of drama. And I don't mind that. Drama storylines could do good to gather numbers, but it's not controversial. It's cliche. They've already dragged this feud as much as it goes. And over the semblance of like the one-off thing is having the daughter and the mother there, they're not making them part of this primordial storyline that's probably going to last for another few weeks. So for that, WWE, you need help. It's we already know how this is going to go off. I'm just going to wait. I'm not even going to give you guys a straight answer. I'm just going to wait. I'm going to wait. It ends up with the daughter walking back like a freaking idiot, and Dominic just looking around like, you know what you just did? Smushed Ethan Page looking ass face, and Rey Mysterio just feeling so upset over his daughter being distraught because I could take care of myself, Papa. It's so bad. I'm just bored. I'm not gonna be interested over the next few weeks. Next up, we had Lana and Natalia against Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, and they're just doing this to tease the fact that they got the Riot Squad on Sunday, and it ends quickly with a sleeper hold on Lana. And these women were jobbing again after Lana complained that why are we jobbing? Is it because you suck and your gimmick is supposed to be you suck? And Natalia has been nothing but been in lower card purgatory since being in the women's roster. You had like women's title reigns, and you're so irrelevant. Stop bitching and complaining. If you want to be taken legitimately, go to freaking AEW or go to Impact because they actually treat women with respect there since day one. So sort of, but still, they've been giving. There's been more positive, well received stuff. Look what they did to Mickey James. Look what they did with the beautiful people. Awesome Kong. Gail Kim has more positive stuff to say about Impact Wrestling than she'll ever have to say with WWE and how much they screwed her over twice in a row. She's a Hall of Fame for that place, other than how she was on WWE. Freaking, I think Chelsea Green was there. Sue Young, Kylie Ray's there. China was even there. And here they are bitching and they're still jobbing over the factoid of Nia Jax fat ass destroying the conference table by her breathing, and it ends up with the hype and Liv Morgan and Ruby Riot that are still a tag team. God, it ends up with them walking away. I think it was either Natalia or Alana getting slammed on a table, and that's about it. It was so forgettable. It just got so squashed, and I keep forgetting what women are even on the freaking roster. Thinks most of them are irrelevant, injured, or jobbing. Next up, we had Asuka versus Peyton Royce one-on-one. And over a dumb interview over Asuka and what Lita Vega will do on against her on uh, Clash of Champions. They just went into an awkward transition involving Peyton Royce that still had Billy Kay there after they were forcibly supposed to split up. I didn't even know if this was documented or not for it to be official that they can't be a tag team anymore. Yet Billy Kay is still there in moral support because you can do that. And of course, they said, "Are you guys still best friends?" That makes no sense. They were obligated to break up. That doesn't mean they have to be obligated not to be friends anymore. WWE is so piss poor with storylining. It's depressing at this point. I'm not saying work rate value. I'm talking about actually making it compelling to watch a televised program. Their storylines suck. It ends up with some decent work move. I think there was a spinning neck breaker that was a modified vertical suplex that went nowhere. Oscar with some basic kicks and a knee. that went for a near fall. Decent offense of Peyton Royce, looking like she had the near closest chance to pinning her, and then Zelina Vega interrupt for a DQ finish, uh, just cheaping out Asuka and threatening her with a back elbow with some offense, with Vega escaping the tease that she's the major focus. It's basic. It's just so boring. I'm sorry, folks. This is so boring. Like, what's supposed to be the selling point? We have Selena Vega that's not even that much established as a single star, and then you just forcibly break up Peyton Royce of awkward means because of a tag team feud. And it was supposedly teased one time when I think Peyton Royce slapped Billy Kay that they were teased to have miscommunication. You can see how inconsistent WWE is in storylining like that. And it ends up blowing up in your face how awkwardly they're treating the women's division. We are seeing Nikki Cross and Bayley that already fought several times in just this year for the women's title. Asuka and Zelina Vega that I think only like 3 people want to see, and that's including Aleister Black. And Riot Squad versus Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. That supposedly I don't know who's the baby. I think both of them are babyface over this expectancy. I don't care about Shayna. I don't care about Nia. Liv Morgan deserved better. And Ruby Riott, they need to put her on SmackDown or at least put her on something else more interesting. I don't want to see her in the Riot Squad, and I don't care if they win the women's tag titles or not. They are irrelevant. They are a jobber belt for women that barely get screen time. We also had a segment involving R-Truth's belt being taken. I don't like whenever belts hit the water. It devalues them so much. And then Tozawa was with his ninja. I don't think the belt even changed hands. And it ends up with a shark bit with Lil Jimmy being involved, so that I think my brother got a pop for it because he was watching. I think my youngest brother, because when he was watching wrestling, because he was introduced like I think '08. Uh, he saw Lil Jimmy and pop because of course he was watching Raw back then like that. So he knows Lil Jimmy, he knows the joke. So that was at least funny to see a reaction from him. Other than that, R-Truth is like already a 50-time 24/7 championship, and it's like I thought this was for the lower carders, so you can see it switch hands like continuously. You're not gonna see the same guy always hold it. Crash Holly does it, but at least it's against a different guy nearly every other week. You have seen more hot potato. You have been seeing less hot potatoing of that belt from same person to same person since like Sasha Banks and Bailey. I think there's also Bailey and Charlotte. I mean Sasha Banks and Charlotte over like 2016. And we had the Hurt Business versus Retribution. We had some big boots, some counters, overzealous teasing, over interference from the women. A counter, then Lashley start taking advantage of Northern Light suplex, belly to belly suplex, a headlock, and then it ends up with an attack to the back, and then the ref ends it off DQ. I didn't even comprehend it was a foreign object. It ends like that so quickly, and then Retribution comes out of nowhere. What part of that is supposed to make them a dominant faction if they can't even win a regular match? And then it ends up with everybody coming into the field. Everybody's crazy. Everybody's being. And then Raw finally comes because it takes them several months to finally grow balls to be like, maybe we should get these NXT jobbers to come around invading our show every week. Especially if security isn't doing anything. Adam Pearce is like, screw it. Let me sign the guys that are making my life a living hell. So the job thing completely out of the point after MVP said that they wouldn't be a problem so he can keep his job. Weekly programming and shit to just show wrestling. I'm being serious. And it ends up with Orton hitting McIntyre with an RKO out of nowhere, and they get in suspense for some reason. Screw Raw, screw McIntyre's jaw. Retribution is Mad Max midget cosplaying pedos that like cuties. I don't want to see this episode anymore. Raw gets a 2 out of 10. I've seen Impact episodes from 2017 that are rewatchable than this garbage. I'd rather watch 2018 Raw and SmackDown all over again. I'd rather see every Eugene promo all over again. Oh man, that's how bad it's been, folks. But thanks for even standing to watch this review with me. I know I'm trying to drag it, but other than that, I'm trying to get into succinct detail why I even think that the show wasn't even worth a waste of my time. But that's just my opinion. Thanks for watching. That's it for me.